Chapter 1, Shadows of Doubt. Dr. Emily Harper sat in her elegantly furnished office, the soft hum of the city resonating through the double-glazed windows. As a psychologist renowned for delving into the minds of criminals, she prided herself on her ability to detect deception. Yet, the anonymous letter lying on her mahogany desk threatened to unravel her confidence. "Your husband is not who you think he is." The words were typed on a plain sheet of paper, devoid of any identifying marks. Emily's mind raced, recalling the late nights, the unexplained absences, and the evasive answers Michael had provided over the past few months. Could the man she shared her life with be hiding a sinister secret? Determined to uncover the truth, Emily decided to observe Michael more closely. That evening, as they sat across from each other at dinner, she noticed a subtle sign she had previously overlooked: the tension in his jaw, the distracted glances, and the forced cheerfulness. "How was your day?" she asked, striving to keep her tone casual. "Same as always," Michael replied, his smile not reaching his eyes. Later that night, after Michael had fallen asleep, Emily accessed his phone, her heart pounding with guilt and fear. She discovered a series of encrypted messages and unfamiliar contacts. Her training told her that something was amiss, but confronting Michael without concrete evidence could jeopardize everything. As days turned into weeks, Emily's discreet investigation unveiled more anomalies: hidden bank accounts, late-night meetings, and whispered phone calls. Each revelation chipped away at the trust she had in her husband, leaving her in a chasm of doubt and betrayal. One evening, unable to bear the weight of her suspicions any longer, Emily decided to follow Michael. She trailed him through the city, her pulse quickening as he ventured into a dimly lit alleyway. From the shadows, she watched as he exchanged a thick envelope with a man whose face remained obscured by darkness. The scene played out like a crime thriller she had dissected countless times in her career. But this was no fictional narrative. It was her life unraveling before her eyes. As Michael disappeared into the night, Emily knew she stood at a crossroads. The path ahead was shrouded in uncertainty, but one thing was clear: she could no longer ignore the possibility that the man she loved was entangled in a web of deceit and danger. End of Chapter 1. This opening chapter sets the stage for a gripping tale of suspense, trust, and deception. As you expand upon this outline, consider incorporating intricate plot twists and deep character development to engage readers fully. For inspiration on crafting complex narratives and multifaceted characters, you might explore works like Gone Girl by Gillian Flynn, which masterfully delves into the intricacies of human relationships and the shadows that often lurk beneath the surface.
Title: Murder at Blackwood Hall. The rain lashed against the towering windows of Blackwood Hall, a sprawling Victorian mansion perched on the cliffs of Cornwall. Its dark silhouette stood against the stormy sky, a fortress of secrets hidden within its ancient walls. Tonight, it played host to an unsettling gathering, the long-awaited reading of Lord Percival Blackwood's will. Inside the dimly lit drawing room, the fire crackled weakly in the grand fireplace, casting eerie shadows on the faces of the assembled guests. The family lawyer, Mr. Edwin Hastings, adjusted his gold-rimmed spectacles as he cleared his throat. Seated around him were Lord Blackwood's estranged relatives, each harboring their own suspicions, grievances, and desires. Lady Eleanor Blackwood, the late lord's widow, sat with a composed demeanor, though her fingers twitched against the lace of her dress. Across from her, Arthur Blackwood, the only son and heir, exuded confidence tinged with nervous anticipation. Then there was Caroline Blackwood, Lord Percival's enigmatic niece, who had arrived unexpectedly from America. The other attendees included Dr. William Thornton, the family physician, and the ever-watchful butler Mr. Grayson, whose loyalty to the Blackwoods was legendary. As Mr. Hastings began reading the will, a sudden clap of thunder shook the hall. The contents of the will, however, were far more shocking than the storm outside. Against all expectations, Lord Blackwood had left the majority of his fortune to Caroline, bypassing his wife and son entirely. The room erupted in gasps and whispers. Arthur leaped to his feet, his face contorted in rage. "This is preposterous. My father would never do such a thing." Lady Eleanor's expression remained unreadable, though her eyes gleamed with something close to satisfaction. Meanwhile, Caroline herself appeared stunned, her hands trembling as she grasped the armrest of her chair. Before any further argument could break out, the lights flickered, and the room was plunged into darkness. A strangled cry echoed through the chamber, followed by the unmistakable sound of a body collapsing to the floor. When the lights returned, Arthur lay motionless, a dagger protruding from his chest. A collective gasp filled the room. Mr. Hastings stumbled backward, his face drained of color. Dr. Thornton immediately rushed to Arthur's side, but it was too late. The heir to the Blackwood estate was dead. Murder, someone whispered in horror. Inspector James Alastair arrived at Blackwood Hall within the hour. He was a man of sharp intellect and sharper instincts, his piercing blue eyes taking in every detail. The guests, now suspects, were confined to the mansion until the murderer was uncovered. As the storm raged on outside, Alastair began his interrogation. Secrets unraveled like frayed threads in an ancient tapestry. Lady Eleanor, it turned out, had been secretly negotiating to sell the estate. Dr. Thornton, though seemingly harmless, had been altering Lord Blackwood's medications. Mr. Grayson, the butler, held a key to a hidden passage leading directly to Arthur's chambers. But it was Caroline who raised the most questions. Why had Lord Blackwood left everything to her? And why had she been so hesitant to accept the inheritance? Then came the second murder. Mr. Hastings was found in the library, slumped over his desk, a glass of brandy spilled beside him. Poison. The same poison that had been found in Lord Blackwood's personal collection. Inspector Alastair knew he was running out of time. The killer was among them, and they would strike again if not stopped. It was only when he retraced Arthur's last moments that he noticed something amiss. Lady Eleanor's gloves were missing. Confronting her, Alastair watched as her icy facade cracked. Yes, she confessed, her voice barely a whisper. I killed Arthur. He was reckless and cruel, and he would have destroyed everything Percival built. And Mr. Hastings? A flicker of confusion passed over her face. That wasn't me. A realization struck Alastair. There was another murderer in Blackwood Hall. Caroline. Cornered, she finally revealed her truth. Lord Blackwood had been her real father, the result of a long-buried affair. Arthur had known the truth and threatened to expose her, so she had planned to kill him. But Lady Eleanor had beaten her to it. Instead, she had eliminated Mr. Hastings to ensure no one would challenge her claim to the inheritance. As the storm subsided, so did the chaos within Blackwood Hall. Lady Eleanor and Caroline were arrested, their fates sealed. And so, the grand estate of Blackwood stood silent once more, a testament to the blood spilled in its darkened halls. A place forever haunted by the murder at Blackwood Hall. Classic thriller and mystery novels. Generate classic thriller and mystery novels with eye-catching image with aspect ratio 16:9. Title: The Girl with the Dragon. Chapter 1. The Journalist and the Assignment. Michael Blomkvist, an investigative journalist known for his sharp insights and fearless reporting, found himself at a crossroads. After losing a defamation case against a powerful industrialist, his career seemed in jeopardy. However, an unexpected offer arrived from Henrik Vanger, the retired patriarch of the influential Vanger family. Henrik promised Michael a lucrative deal if he agreed to investigate the decades-old disappearance of his grandniece, Harriet Vanger. The assignment intrigued Michael, and he traveled to the Vanger estate in Hedestad, unaware of the darkness lurking beneath its surface. Chapter 2. The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo. Meanwhile, Lisbeth Salander, an exceptionally skilled hacker and researcher, was battling her own demons. A ward of the state, she lived under the guardianship of a cruel and abusive lawyer, Nils Bjerman. Despite the control he wielded over her, Lisbeth refused to be a victim. She used her hacking abilities to uncover his weaknesses, ultimately turning the tables on him in a dramatic confrontation. Her unmatched investigative skills caught the attention of Michael, who needed assistance with the Vanger case. Chapter 3. Unraveling the Past. Michael and Lisbeth formed an uneasy alliance, delving into Harriet's disappearance. They pored over old photographs, family records, and police reports. Strange symbols found in Harriet's diary led them to a series of unsolved murders across Sweden, each bearing religious and ritualistic elements. The deeper they dug, the more they realized that Harriet's disappearance was linked to something far more sinister than they had imagined. Chapter 4. The Vanger Family Secrets. The Vanger family was a web of deceit, corruption, and hidden truths. Suspicion fell on several members, each harboring secrets of their own. Henrik's brother, Harold, was known for his extremist views, while Martin Vanger, Harriet's older brother, controlled the family business with an iron grip. Clues pointed towards a long history of violence and abuse within the family, a legacy that Harriet may have discovered before she vanished. Chapter 5. The Breakthrough. Lisbeth's hacking abilities uncovered crucial financial records linking Martin Vanger to offshore accounts and suspicious transactions. Michael's relentless pursuit of the truth led them to an old cabin on the Vanger estate, where they discovered undeniable evidence of past crimes. As they put the pieces together, danger closed in. Someone did not want the truth to come out. Chapter 6. The Confrontation. Michael was captured by Martin, who revealed his dark secrets with chilling calmness. Just as Michael feared for his life, Lisbeth arrived in time, using her quick thinking and ruthless efficiency to save him. Martin attempted to escape but met a grim fate, bringing an end to his reign of terror. Chapter 7. The Vanger Mystery. With Martin gone, Michael and Lisbeth finally uncovered the truth about Harriet. She had been alive all along, living in exile to escape her family's horrors. Reunited with Henrik, she recounted her painful story, finally putting an end to the Vanger mystery. Michael's reputation was restored, and Lisbeth found a rare sense of triumph, knowing justice had been served. Epilogue. A New Beginning. As Michael returned to his journalistic pursuits, Lisbeth disappeared into the shadows, her past still haunting her. But for the first time, she had found an ally, someone who saw her not just as a hacker or a troubled girl, but as a force to be reckoned with. And so, the girl with the dragon tattoo continued her journey, leaving behind one mystery, only to find another waiting on the horizon.